Hi everyone, it's Allie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have two cards for you featuring Altenew's Lotus Stamp Set. I did pull a sentiment from the Sakura Blossom Build a Flower set. So I'm going to dive right in here. So for my first card, I grabbed a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm going to do a little bit of ink smooshing. And so I grabbed a couple of the inks that I'm going to actually use on the flowers, but I did add in blue. When I saw this stamp set, my idea for the card was to have sort of like a pond or a water type background. So I decided to just smush all my colors together and see how it would come out using Altenew's inks. So you can see me doing that on there, and I love Tim Holtz mats for this. It is just such easy cleanup. So I think I've kind of solved the glare. I still have a little bit of a glare there, but I don't think it's as bad. I keep playing around with my lights because I do love to use his mat so much. So sometimes you will probably see his surface, and then sometimes I do have like a white desk mat that I use. So I kind of go back and forth. But so I just kept putting ink down until I was kind of happy with what I had. Now, Bristol Smooth, you know, it's not like a true watercolor paper, but it takes a lot of ink. Then I pulled out my Altenew watercolors, and I have not even swatched those yet or opened them all up, but I wanted to use the white in there and just put some white little flecks on my paper. And then I went ahead and I let that air dry. If I don't have to hit it with a heat tool, I'm an impatient crafter, but then I'm also like, if I have multiple steps on a card, I like to let something dry naturally rather than hit it with that. So my next step was to pull out my MISTI, and then I stamped all of my flowers. I did the outlines first in the black ink, and then I took limeade and fresh leaf, and I kind of played around with that a little bit just to get some definition for my leaves. So you'll see all my leaves are a little bit different because I added both inks to the stamp. I kind of used the light first, and then I hit different areas of the stamp with the dark. And these were, I have to say, very easy to line up. Sometimes I just use, like I'm doing here, I use my block, and then sometimes I did use the MISTI. And I used baby pink and magenta, and then I also used lavender fields and midnight violet. So I just kept it to pink and purple, and I didn't use, this is like I don't know what they consider them because their inks usually have like 4 ink colors in a family. So I use like the first one and the third one, um, or even the first one and the fourth one. I'll have to look at what I did. But I wanted it to really stand out, so I didn't really go in order of the inks. I wanted it to look really, really dark for some of the detail work on this. So I really loved how they came out. It was a very easy, like I said, stamp set to do. So I did stamp 2 sets, and then I did cut those out. And here I'm showing you, I never used that set before, so I was just kind of warming up with my hands there so I would get a good impression. And for some of those, I did practice on a throwaway sheet of paper just to make sure I was getting a good impression with them. So I did buy the dies to this set. A lot of times I will buy Altenew's dies. I don't think their dies are that expensive, so I will do that. And depending on what kind of card I'm making, I usually use multiple leaves and things like that, and I don't generally like to cut out a ton of those. So that is one where I will. So there you have it. There are those. And I went ahead and did a second paper. I cut it to the same exact, and it's so easy when you have a Missy just to flip in between those papers. So I made this card for my layering number 2 class for my Altenew educators. I'm sorry, I got distracted by my puppy over here. And then I did make this also for the Atlantic Heart Sketch Challenge, which is on my blog. You can visit their blog and participate in their sketches. So there are the 2 finished. All right, so I went ahead and ran the first one through, and it came out perfectly. I hate sometimes I do not line them up right, and then I ruin my flower and I get mad. But this one is actually fairly easy because I taped them into that, and then I just put, as you can see there, that paper right over, so I didn't have to reset all of those in, and just kind of locked them right into place there and ran them through, and they came out perfect, and it was so easy to do. I really love that I did not have to reline all of that up. So when I was putting those flowers onto my background, I don't know, it just, to me, I just felt like I needed something else. So then I thought of vellum, because when in doubt, add some vellum just to offset or soften the background. So instead of putting vellum though all over my card, I decided I just wanted to use it right around my flowers. So I figured out how I wanted my flowers to go, and then I am going to go ahead and cut around my flowers. Oh, I lied, but first I think I'm going to draw my stem in. So I decided I wasn't going to cut out a stem for that one, so I just went ahead and drew it in. And then I took a green marker and colored in the back of it. It's sort of like a green sparkly marker. I think I've had it forever. It's from Creative Memories. And if anyone has their pens or markers, oh my god, I think I've had those for, I don't know, 10 years plus, and they still work. It's crazy. But I think that worked just fine, and it looks like it goes, so I was happy with that. And I did end up putting white gel pen around it, so it does look like it goes with the stamp set more, since I have that white border around all the other flowers. So in here you're just going to see me start cutting out a little bit. And my vellum is just random pieces of vellum I have in my cardstock. I don't even know where I would have gotten that from. So then I picked out my stamp, or my sentiment, like I said, from the Secure Blossom Build a Flower set. I just love the fonts in there. I've been using that often, so I'm kind of stuck on that one for a while now. And then after I did that, I did add a couple of Nuvo drops to the card. And it was funny because where I added the Nuvo drops onto the ink smooshing area, they kind of like, I thought I used white, but it ended up kind of clear. So I don't think I shook the bottle well enough because it kind of took on the background color, but it still came out pretty. You can see the ones on the flower actually a little bit more. So this is the second card I'm going to make, and I decided to use the Gold Splatter Blush Washi tape, and that is one of their very wide washies. And their washies go on beautifully. I just spread that onto the card, and as you can see, I'm just cutting off the excess there. That is one of my favorite washies with them. and it came out really, really nice there. Okay, so then I pulled out, I have a paper pad by Trimcrafts Wildflowers, and it's a really neat pad. It's got some texture to it. It doesn't feel flat. It's not um, like that shiny, smooth texture. It's matte. Um, it's a really neat pad, and it's Trimcrafts, which I think it is from Europe or the UK, where you can get it. I had originally got a few pieces in it from a Love from Lizi kit, and I just loved it so much I had to buy the whole paper pad, and I just pull it out now and again to use. So when I use the colors I did on these flowers, I thought of that paper pad, so I had to pull it out. So this is the sketch for the Atlantic Hearts. So for this card, I am going off the sketch. So I also grabbed a gold Love from Lizi peel off just to finish off the edge of my washi tape there. And I'm going to put my little banner on. And then I just kind of played with my flowers a little bit to see what my placement was going to be. I did add some Nuvo glitter gloss to both of my cards, so my flowers were glittery. Sometimes I think I use that marker too much, but when I look at a card, it's just, I feel like it's not finished until I put that marker on there. So I love how both of these cards came out. And I kind of rolled up some of the leaves there, so everything didn't seem that flat. That is one of my tips. So when you are working with flowers or leaves or anything like that, sometimes I don't adhere everything down, and I will roll up some of the sides just a little bit. Just to give it some little height instead of using like a 3D foam tape. But then these are more cards you may just want to hand to someone instead of mailing them. And I'm sorry if you heard my husband in the background. He's usually not home when I do this, but he's watching football. So here are my two finished cards again. If you'd like to see more pictures, you can pop over to my blog. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.